Hey, how's it going? Isaku here. Today I'll be showing you how to make a mock-up or demo using GarageBand. We're going to take a piece that we all know, Renshu by Seiji Tanaka, and create a recording. And the best part is that we don't have to load in or set up a single drum today. The software that we're going to be using is called GarageBand. It's a free DAW or DAW, Digital Audio Workstation for macOS that you can use to produce music. So taking the skills that you learned today, you can use GarageBand to create and share your musical ideas with others. It can be a composition tool where you can answer questions like, what if we tried a different tempo? Or what if we tried a different, what if we added another instrument? Or what if we repeated this section one more time? You're going to be able to answer those questions immediately. You can also use it as a collaborative tool where you send your ideas to others, they send ideas back. You can also use the finished audio to share it with the members of your group, and it's by them hearing what the song is supposed to sound like, they'll be able to learn the music a lot quicker. Okay, so let me switch over to the computer right now. So the first thing you'll want to do is install GarageBand. And you can do this by either clicking the link in the description, or you can go to the App Store and search for GarageBand. Okay, and you'll get this screen. I've already installed GarageBand, so it says open, but if you haven't, then this will say install. So once you've installed GarageBand, you'll start with an empty project. And it'll ask if you want a software instrument, audio, or drummer tracks. And for the purposes of today, we'll be using software instrument because we'll be using the MIDI keyboard to input our notes. Okay, so hit create. Now, before you get started, I would recommend going to GarageBand, Sound Library, and then download all available sounds. Okay, once again, GarageBand, Sound Library, download all available sounds, and that'll make sure that you have all of the a lot more variety of instruments, software instruments that you can play. Okay, so once you've done that, you'll go over here to your library. If you don't see this, you can either click on this this button that kind of looks like a tray, or you can hit Y on the keyboard. Okay, and you'll go to World, Percussion, and then Taiko drums. Now, when you play on the MIDI keyboard, you should be hearing sounds. Okay, if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, you can go to Window, and then Show Keyboard. Wait, is this? Here we go. Yeah, and then you can play the notes on your regular keyboard. Okay. The other thing that you can do is click on this scissors icon, or E, and then this will get you your piano roll. This is where we'll be manipulating our MIDI notes. Okay, so hit E, and then open up your editor. So now that I have the Taiko drums loaded into GarageBand, I'm going to play around on the MIDI keyboard and find a Taiko sound that I like. Okay, so I think I like that one. So I'm going to record. Before I record, I'm going to go to where it says record here, and then count in, and 1 bar. Okay, so that means I'm going to hear 1 bar of click, and then I'm going to start playing. To record, I can either hit this red button here, or I can hit R on the computer keyboard. Okay, I'm going to hit enter to play it back. can hit this metronome icon to turn the click on and off. I can also hit K on the keyboard. You probably noticed that the first note, you didn't hear the first note, right? And that's because I hit this one a little bit too early. But in fact, as you can see, a lot of the notes are not played completely accurately. Like this one's a little bit early, this one's a little bit early, a little bit early, early. This one's right on, right on, right on. But anyway, to fix the notes, I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to quantize. And in this case, I'm going to quantize to the 8th note grid. So all of the notes are going to snap to the nearest 8th note. Now I could also do the same thing with the 16th note, the 32nd note. But you see the 16th note, this one was way early, so now it's on the 16th note before, so I don't want that. So I'm going to quantize to the nearest 8th note. See how that sounds. Do you hear kind of like a rim on the second, on every second note? Like on every other note, I'm hearing a rim, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna select everything. I'm gonna move it down. I'm gonna hit Option and then down arrow. You can also drag, click and drag. Let's see how this one sounds. Okay, I like that one a lot more. But now I need to fix the velocities, meaning not all of the notes in Nenshu line 1 are going to be the same. So, don, don, okay. You know, another thing to be aware of, sorry, I did show keyboard, and then I went from here to here, where instead of it being a piano keyboard, I'm going to be using the computer keyboard. Okay, and the note that I played, oh, let's see, I need to adjust the octave, so I'm going to go down an octave, and then, oh. Okay, so that's the note that I'm playing, and if you see here, velocity, it says velocity 98. So that's how strong the instrument is being played right now. Let's see. If I hit V, I can increase the velocity. And it's important to kind of hear where the timbre changes in your MIDI instruments. Okay, so when the drums are hit harder, you're going to hear more of this stick hitting the drum head, and that's actually reflected in this instrument. So you hear a lot of the stick hitting the drum head. Now if I reduce the velocity, the intensity becomes a lot less. So I'm kind of listening for like where where I'm going from, like mezzo, forte to forte to fortissimo, like where those switches happen in the software. Okay, so anyway, as I was listening, I think the velocity for the first 4 notes, I liked roughly around 120. So I'm going to grab click and select the first 4 notes, and then drag this slider to around 120. So again, select the notes, choose a velocity of 120. I can also do each note individually, and once this hits 127, it won't move anymore. So for example, if this one is already at 127, and I grabbed them, and I tried to move it, it's not going to move past this one being 127. Okay, let's move that one back to 120. See how it sounds. Okay, so I want a crescendo for these 4 notes. And the way to do that is I'm going to hit this kind of like, it looks kind of like a constellation, but anyway, dots connected by arrows, automation. You can also hit A on the keyboard. I'm going to make sure that this controller, I'm controlling the note velocity. Okay, and I can either grab these and then move them up and down, or I can create like a line. Oh, sorry, I need to select all of them and then drag a line, and then all of the velocities will snap to that line. Okay, let me see how that sounds. Okay, I want this one to be like roughly 120-ish. I'm going to click here and then select just those 4 notes. So when I hit play, it's going to keep playing this bar over and over again. So I want this one to be softer. Probably bring it way down. Probably bring these 2 up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the next bar. So all I did was click and then drag. I clicked on this orange space. I can also do the same thing here, and then grab and then drag. Doro tsuku don don. So maybe one doro. I want that second left hand to be louder. Doro tsuku. Oh, excuse me. I'll probably bring these down to like roughly where these were. Doro tsuku don don. Okay, let me listen to the whole thing. Okay, that sounds pretty good to me. Now if I want to play this thing 2 times, I'm going to click on the region and then option click and then drag to where I want to copy it. So now when I play, it's going to play the same thing twice. You know, just for the fun of it, I'm going to make this note a little bit louder. So when you go do don 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 don. Okay. Now the other way to input MIDI notes is let's see. I can do control click, create empty region. And then I'm going to click and drag this So that's 4 bars. Let's see. And then I can also input the notes manually. So control click, create new note, and then I can do option click, wait, this is what I want. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Let's make sure that I inputted that correctly. Okay, select everything. Actually, you know what? You know, actually, I'm gonna edit these first. So, dorotsuku. I want these to be pretty loud, and then the second note, doro. Oops, sorry. Doro. Tsuku. Dorotsuku. Doro. Something like that. Doro. Tsuku. Don. Let's see. The tsukus are a little bit too soft. So I'm going to select them. And I'm going to hit shift, hold down shift, and then select all 6 of the tsukus, and then probably bringing them up a little bit. Dun, dun, dun. I want that to be a little bit harder. I'm going to put a period at the end of the sentence. Okay. So I'm happy with that, so I'm going to copy all the notes over. Okay. Now I guess I can go back to recording on the keyboard. Okay, I was testing out the rim sound. Yeah, it doesn't seem to change really all that much with the velocity, so I'm just going to kind of play with what we have. I'm going to select the next 4 bars here, and I'm going to hit R. I'm going to have 1 bar of count, and I'm going to start playing. Okay, so that I kind of flubbed that one up because I didn't have a click on, but we'll see how I did. Select the notes, and then quantize to the 8th note, nearest 8th note. Okay, so not bad. I'm thinking these could be like 1. Let's see. Because when you're playing taiko drums and you're going to hit the rim, usually don't hit that the note leading into the rim like as hard as you possibly can, right? You're kind of already anticipating the rim hit, so the note preceding the rim hit kind of becomes a little bit softer. Don, ka, ka. Let's see how much I can get away with. Yeah, that's too soft. So let's see, like 115-ish. Yeah, and I think this one can be a little bit harder. So I'm gonna go don ka ka don ka ka don ka 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 ka. You know, just for fun. And I think I'll have a very like subtle crescendo here. Let's see. Just gonna, yeah, a very subtle crescendo. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Don, ka, don. You know, I could have just copied the notes over, but doing it manually makes it a little bit more realistic, because you know the velocities are not always going to be exactly the same, so that kind of gives it a little bit of a humanness to it. But you know, if you don't have time, then I would just copy it over, and then don kara kara. Okay, let's see. Might be fun to do the crescendo a little bit louder the second time. Yeah. Okay, sounding good. Okay, I'm just going to record the next, or the last two lines in one go. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that my metronome is on. And then I'm going to start playing from bar 17. When I hit R, we're going to hear from bar 16, and then we'll start playing on bar 17. Okay. Should be pretty used to the process by now. I'm going to click in the piano roll, and I'm going to hit Command left to kind of zoom out, okay, so that I can see more of the notes at the same time. Command, let's see. Oh, it does not do that. In Logic, if you do Command up and down, then you can also change the grid up and down, but apparently you cannot do that in GarageBand. Okay. Anyway, 8th note. And then select where I want to loop. Okay. Okay. These can all be a little bit lower. Wait. I meant to select this note. Oh. I selected the wrong notes. Okay, so these need to be a lot softer. Okay, and then I guess for brevity's sake, I'm just gonna copy these notes over. Okay. Option click, and then drag them. I guess these, they don't have to be all the way at the max. They can kind of be done. I guess give this one a little bit of an oomph, and then give this one the max. Oh. Let's see. Okay, sounds pretty good to me. Now, what if we wanted to have an ensemble of drums? Okay, I'm gonna hit the plus button here. Also, Option Command N. Software instrument. World percussion Taiko drums. Okay, and then let's see if I can find a shime. Okay, so because this is a kind of a supporting part, I'm going to go with this kind of not so in your face one. Let's see, should I play straight or should I play a horse beat? Okay, I'm going to kind of do a mixture, see how that sounds. Hit enter, move my playhead back to the front, and then hit R. Then I'm going to go to my piano roll. I'm sorry, I'm going to double click on the region. Also, I can hit E. Go to the piano roll, and then let's see. First of all, make sure that everything is quantized to the 8th note grid. Yeah. And then let's see how it sounds. So it's a little bit too loud for it to be a G part, or a supporting part, sorry. So I can either lower the volume by clicking on this circle and then dragging it to the left, and it says volume minus 6 dB. Or I can go here, select everything. Why does it not select everything? Oh, here, okay, it is. Select everything, and then I can drag the velocities down, and then that'll make it softer too. Kind of experiment and see which one works best for you. Anyway, I'm going to move the volume back. Option and then click moves it back to unity gain, which is 0. It's going to be at 0 if I click Option click. See how that sounds. Okay, so this is a little bit subjective, and it's kind of artistic decision too. Do you want the person to play softer, or do you want them to play just as loud as they were, but you're just going to bring the volume down? Okay, two very different things. Somebody playing loud, but the volume is brought down, or are they playing softer? Okay, when I heard it playing softer, I felt like it lacked velocity, or it lacked kind of momentum. So I'm gonna bring the velocity back up, and then I'm gonna lower the volume and see how that sounds. Okay, sounds pretty good to me. Let's say I wanted more taiko drums. Create another instrument, world percussion, taiko drums. Let's see. Command left, kind of zoom out. Take this, copy it into the next track. Okay, so let's say this is taiko drums 1. Or actually, I can be more specific. I can say chu 1, chu 2, and these would be shime. Okay. Now, I just copied the data over, so now I'm going to hear 2 drums. Okay, now the problem with this is that we have 2 software instruments playing the exact same notes at the same time. Okay, so instead of getting 2 drums, we're getting like 1 gigantic drum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this MIDI data, Command A, select everything, and then I'm going to move it to a different note. So now we're going to have 2 drums. Sorry. Okay, you notice it's kind of hard to differentiate which sound is which. So I'm going to pan them a little bit, and you're going to go here. I'm going to pan this one a little bit to the left, pan this one a little bit to the right. Okay, when I hit this headphone icon, you're going to hear only chu 1. Okay. If I hit this one, it's going to mute, so you're not going to hear that one. Let me mute the shime for a second, and then we'll hear just the 2 chus. I'll also toggle this one, so you'll hear chu 1 by itself, chu 1 and 2, chu 1 by itself, chu 1 and 2. Cool. So what I did is I kind of moved them. So you hear one of the chews coming out from one of the, a little bit more from one of the speakers, and then the other one coming more from the other speaker. Now I can make this a little bit more extreme. Then you would, if you did it more extreme, then you would hear one completely from one speaker and one completely from the other speaker. Yeah, and to my ears that sounds a little bit too extreme. I don't think you would ever set up two trues like on the far ends of the stage. So I'm going to set them kind of somewhere in the middle of the stage. Just enough that there's separation, but not that it sounds like they're coming from two very separate places. Let's see, what else can we do? I actually don't like there being this much reverb. So I'm gonna shoe one. I'm gonna decrease the amount of reverb. Actually, let me listen to this by itself. That's no reverb at all, and this is a lot of reverb. Okay, so obviously we're looking for some kind of a happy medium here, and I think we had a little bit too much, but I also don't want it to be like completely gone. So I'm going to add just a little bit. Okay, so that sounds okay to my ear. What about this one? Oh, you know what? The rim notes are cutting out probably because it doesn't play any rim notes. There's no rim notes, oops, assigned to that note. Let me try and fix that. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to, so was it? To my reverb settings. Yeah, and now it doesn't sound like I'm in a cave anymore. So what else can we do? I guess another thing we can do is record some kakegoe to show you how a audio track works. Let me kind of set everything up for that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my microphone plugged into my audio interface. I'm going to turn the speakers down so I'm not re-recording sound from the speakers back into the microphone. I got my headphones on, turn my click track on, turn my click on, and create a audio track. I'm going to check the levels. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, for kiais, you know, you want them to be like shouts, like pretty loud. So I'm not going to go like really close to the microphone. I'm going to actually take a step back, and then, but I'm going to shout pretty loud into the microphone. So you want to make sure that your gain levels, that this green bar doesn't go into the yellow or the red. Definitely not the red. Okay. Also going to check preferences, and then audio MIDI. Make sure my input device is set to my audio interface so that I'm not recording like from someplace else. Okay, and now the last thing before I record is I want to check the tempo. So 120 felt a little bit slow. but it's good because I have to input the notes manually, right? So I want to play it at a slow tempo so I can play it accurately. But once I'm ready to record audio, as opposed to MIDI, then I'm going to record at the tempo, at the final tempo. So let's say tempo is 140. Let me see how that sounds. Maybe a little bit faster. Somewhere around there. Okay, so I'm ready to record. Move the playhead back to the front and then hit R. Okay, let's listen back. Okay, so to me, this first hop sounded a little bit weak. So I'm gonna select where I want to make the edit. Okay, and then Command T. I'm gonna delete that, and then I'm gonna use this last one. Let's see. Use this last one in its place. So I made that selection. And then I'm gonna option click and drag it over to the front. Okay. I'm happy with that, so I'm gonna add a little bit of reverb to the vocal. You're gonna click and then click on this knob button, also B on the keyboard, and then you're gonna go to where it says plugins. Okay, click on an empty space. Click on an empty space. And then go down to where it says Reverb, and then you can pick any of these Reverb plugins. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick Space Designer. I don't want it to sound gigantic because the drums are pretty dry. So I'm gonna use maybe a medium space, maybe a small space, and then something for vocals. So either vocal ambience. What about short, clear vocals? Let's try that. Okay, so initially there's a lot of, actually too much reverb. So I'm reducing the reverb output. just want there to be a little bit of space without, you know, sounding like I'm in a cave or something. Okay. So, kind of one of the things that's making it sound a little bit weird is that there's 3 people playing, but you only hear one voice. So I'm thinking I might want to layer another voice in there. So I'm going to create another audio track. And I'm going to record a second pass of basically the same keys. The reason I'm not copying the data over is because you're going to hear, you don't want to hear exactly the same recording, okay, which is why I'm recording another pass. Okay, and I think I'll record one more because there's 3 drummers, so you know, why not have 3 voices? Okay. Okay, so let me move the microphone over for a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan this one over 15 because the drum is over 15, and we're just going to kind of assume that the people saying the keys are the drummers themselves, so they need to be coming from the same location. Also, I need to add reverb to this one. So I'm just going to go and add the same reverb that I added to the other ones. 26 minus 26, so I'm going to just do minus 26. Wait a minute. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I hadn't mismatched the reverb. Otherwise it's going to sound like they're coming from 2 different locations or 2 different spaces. Okay, so reverb, space designer, and then okay. 26. Okay. Okay. And let's see how this sounds. Yeah, it sounds kind of weird because, you know, you definitely hear that it's one person saying all of the lines. But, you know, I mean, if you recorded different people, or if you recorded multiple people at the same time, yeah, once again, the purpose is to kind of show you how to record. I also think that the keys are a little bit too loud. I mean, they're almost as loud as the drums themselves, right? Which you wouldn't have in real life. So I'm going to bring the volume down quite a bit, okay? You do that by clicking on this ball and then moving it. I'm going to bring it down like 12 dB, all of them, and then see if that helps with the balance. I'm thinking maybe even more. I think maybe that was too much. Somewhere around here. So I'm thinking one fun effect might be if the first 4 holes you only heard one person, and then sole you heard everybody. Could be interesting. Let's see how that sounds. Never mind. Okay. Now, why is there no reverb on this last one? Let's see. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that sounds. So I'm going to go to Share and then Export Song to Disk. Okay, but before I do that, I need to turn the click off. Otherwise, we're going to hear the click in the final recording. Sometimes you want that if you're working with somebody else, but if you're just going to listen to it, then you don't need the click. So Share, Export Song to Disk. AAC and MP3 are compressed. So if the person that you're sending the audio to doesn't need to manipulate it, then AAC or MP3 is going to save disk space. AIFF, WAV are uncompressed, so the files are larger, but they're also higher quality. So if the person needs to manipulate the audio, then send AIFF or WAV. I'm going to save to the desktop. File name is Enshu MP3. I would go for high quality or highest quality. High quality would be fine for today. Export. Okay, and that's it. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, comments, please let me know. I'm always happy to talk about Taiko, audio, anything that your heart desires. Thanks for watching. See you soon.